All right, today we're going to crack a code that could honestly change the lives of millions. A massive new scientific review has found a surprisingly simple key to putting type 2 diabetes into remission. So let's dive right in. Okay, let's start with this number. It is staggering. This is the projected number of adults who will be living with diabetes by 2045. We're talking about a global health crisis that affects hundreds of millions of people and puts a huge strain on healthcare systems everywhere. So that is the big question, right? It's the question at the very heart of the research we're looking at today. And it's what takes us from the scary scale of the problem to the promise of a really powerful solution. Okay, so we all know type 2 diabetes is a massive health issue, no question there. But a major scientific review, a meta-analysis that pulled together data from a ton of high-quality trials, has finally put a number on a relationship we've suspected for a long time, but never really understood with this kind of clarity. You know, for decades, the advice has been pretty simple. Losing weight helps. But the big missing piece was always the math. How much weight loss actually leads to how much benefit? Well, this new, huge analysis finally crunched the numbers, and the results, they're clearer than anyone really expected. And this is where we get to the big reveal. The study didn't just find some vague connection. No, it found a direct mathematical relationship between losing weight and putting diabetes into remission.
So, the key discovery is what scientists call a dose-response relationship. Now, just think of it like a medicine. The dose is the percentage of body weight you lose, and the response is how likely you are to achieve diabetes remission. And it turns out, for every single percentage point of body weight loss,
the chances of partial remission, they go up by about 3%. And the chances of complete remission, they go up by about 2%. This is incredibly powerful because it means the effect isn't random, it's predictable, it's consistent. The bottom line is, every little bit of progress directly boosts your odds.
Okay, so what does this all actually look like in the real world? Because this is where the numbers get really, really dramatic. This is where we see the incredible power of hitting specific weight loss milestones. But first, let's just get on the same page about what remission even means. It's not a cure, but it's a huge deal. It means your blood sugar is back to a healthier level without you needing any medication. Partial gets you into that pre-diabetes range, and complete gets you all the way back into the normal range.
All right, with that in mind, let's look at the data. The pooled results from thousands and thousands of participants, they show this absolutely stunning pattern.
Look, the real story here is in the jump. If you lose less than 10% of your body weight, the chance of remission is pretty low. But the second you cross that 10% threshold, boom, the chance of partial remission skyrockets to nearly 50%. And that dose-response effect, it just keeps going. Once you pass 30% weight loss, it's undeniable. Nearly 90% of people achieve partial remission, and almost 80% achieve complete remission. The pattern is just, wow, it's astonishingly clear.
All right, now this next part, this might just be the most surprising and honestly the most empowering finding in the whole study. The researchers didn't just look at what works, they also looked at what doesn't seem to be the deciding factor.
So get this. Once the researchers took that percentage of body weight lost into account, all these other things we thought were huge deals, like your age, how long you've had diabetes, your starting BMI, even if you were on insulin, they just kind of faded into the background. They weren't the significant drivers. The one thing that stood out loud and clear was that percentage. What this really means is, it's not so much about how you lose the weight. It doesn't matter if it's through lifestyle changes or medication or bariatric surgery. Sure, some methods might lead to more weight loss, but the analysis shows it's the result, that final percentage off the scale, that holds all the predictive power. And that is a truly democratizing finding. It's a game changer. Okay, so let's pull all this together. After seeing all this data, what's the one big message you should walk away with? How does this really change how we should think about type 2 diabetes?
Well, it's pretty simple, but it's incredibly powerful. This research basically reframes the whole conversation. Weight loss isn't just something that helps you manage the symptoms. It should be seen as a primary, powerful therapeutic treatment that can fundamentally alter the course of the disease itself.
And this quote from the study itself really just says it all. Even if someone doesn't reach full remission, every single step on that journey counts. Any amount of weight loss has a continuous positive effect, and it reduces the risk of all those complications. In other words, there is no failure here, only degrees of success.
And that leaves us with this final, really critical question. The science has given us a clear, quantifiable target. So the challenge now kind of shifts from the lab to the real world. Armed with this knowledge, what can we do to make meaningful, sustained weight loss a truly accessible and achievable goal for the millions of people who could benefit? That's the code we all need to help crack. Thanks for tuning in.